up and down game for you guys, right? Can you just talk a little bit about how, you had to ride the roller coaster a little bit there?
Yeah, I think we had some couple mishaps in the game. The muff, we had the missed PAT. I thought aside from that, we played pretty solid in the Big Four, and fortunately, we were able to have another opportunity to redeem the missed PAT, and Dustin did a great job with the execution on that. So
Message to Crochet after the muff punt.
just refocus on the next rep. He knows he should have called for fair catch, so we'll clean that up, and he'll make better decisions moving forward.
Was that close to being within the box or whatever they call it?
Halo or whatever. It was tight. I mean, we actually did a solid job of like pulling off like with our guy the blocking in it. It was like MJ over there, and he's just got to make a better decision to use a fair catch and protect himself.
With Dustin missing the extra point, was there any worry when he lined up for that game-winning field goal that might stick at all?
No, not from me, not at all. I have a lot of confidence in that unit. I have a lot of confidence in him, and I knew that, he would apply the correction and be ready to rock on that last rep. So he did a great job, great execution on the play by the entire unit.
But not just to harp on that on the muff, but as a special teams coordinator, how do you balance keeping faith in the guy than wanting to make a change? Because you can't really make those kind of.
Yeah, he hasn't shown me any reason to have lost confidence in him. His in-practice reps have been really good. He's been really good in his career. He's been a sure-handed guy. And, unfortunately for us in that situation, he didn't make a great decision, and it looked like he kind of got caught in between. He wasn't sure what he was going to do. And, we put the ball on the ground. So I have confidence in him.
It's block. I mean, it represented such a swing there at the end of the first half. How big was that?
Again, great execution by the unit, players stepping up and making plays in critical situations. We come with Dalvin does an excellent job. Shelby does an excellent job on that rep of getting knocked back and playing with good pad level, and Jordan gets his hand into the ball flight. So it was excited. It was an exciting play to see, and Anthony Walker with the scoop and reverse field. The guys were giving him a lot of flack over that one, so it was funny to see.
You teach a different rush technique on those longer field goals because you know the trajectory is going to be lower?
No, I mean there's times where teams will pressure from inside or out. It just depends on what you're looking at as far as their personnel. But no, I think that the calls vary. Everything's game plan specific to the opponent. So
with the blocked kick, I mean the redemption aspect of it on that drive, since on the 4th and 7 you guys had the too many men on the field penalty there when they were about to punt. Just the fact that there's no quit, even though that penalty had just happened.
Yeah, we addressed the substitution error, and in that won't happen again. What happens is sometimes if you sub for a guy defensively, you may assume that you're subbed on a special teams unit, and you're not until we tell you that you are. So we'll get that. We got that corrected, and so it was a huge play in the game. The block, gave our team some momentum, and we got points off of it. So that was good.
Buffalo got caught in that kind of fire drill situation on Monday night. How much do you guys work on those transitions from, defense to kick block to?
We work it every week. And we cover it in the meetings every week. Especially on Saturday, we get those reminders in. So it's fresh in their heads, knowing that, if we do get, we call it Mayday field goal at the end of the game, most times we're not going to make a substitution defensively. So whatever personnel we have out there is what we're going to stick with.
A lot of coaches, if the guy muffs a punt, maybe you don't ever see that guy again. So I guess for you, you're obviously not talking about that. That's not going to happen. So why is your approach different? What's a mistake?
Like I said, he's done a good job. In his career, he's secured the ball well. He's set up on the ball well. He showed us in practice that he can handle the ball well. So we have confidence in him. He's been a good player, and we had good production the previous week, and I'm confident in his ability to make the correction and move forward now. And I will say this, he's an extremely hard worker. He wanted to catch jugs on the off day, and so he's been getting extra reps. He caught like every punt yesterday off when Corey was warming up. So he's been intentional about making it right, and he's definitely, off about it. So, and when you see that a guy cares that much, it's important. It's important to him, and it's important to our team.
The mindset that you've seen in your guys in the wake of Deshaun being lost for the season?
I think everyone has, and Coach Stefanski did a good job yesterday. It's an opportunity for our team to rise up. Everyone's got to do their job, and that's how it's going to be, always going to be. But everyone's got to do their job, and they're going to have to do their job even better than they've done it. So we're excited for the opportunity to, help our football team and try to give our offense the best field position possible.
What does it say about the unit that Dustin Hopkins can miss that extra point, come back, hit that game winner, that, after the muff punt, he's out there trying to work on it? What does it say about the consistency that you guys have been able to create and are aiming for?
Yeah, to me in football, I feel like, they have good players too. Things are going to happen in a game. You may not have the best play every single time. How fast can you apply the correction to the next rep and not let it compound? And I think that our guys have done a good job of that. Obviously we missed the PAT. He comes back and nails the game winner. And I think that holds true with, all really good football teams is, the other team's going to make a play at some point. How fast can you respond and not let it compound to where they're, like I say, you're talking about the defense. You give up a chunk play. How many, do you give up another one, or you come back the next play and answer it? So I think that our team collectively has done a good job of that.
I see Wright Miles was coming off the edge on, field goal and PAT block.
He did this past week, yeah.
Was that? Or was he going to do it anyway?
So Denzel subs out of the game. We made an adjustment, added Dalvin to that unit, and fortunately Dalvin got really good get off and push on the block too. So
is that unusual that a guy that big is the guy coming off the edge from
Yeah.
DN?
Yeah, so the thing with him is, what does he do? He rushes the passer and he bends well. So I felt like that was a good spot for him in that game specifically. So we made the adjustment, and those guys handled it well. And I would say that about our guys, next man up, those guys are willing to do anything I ask them to do, and I think that's why we've had, good results, especially on that unit. Not every team is throwing their best players out there. So our guys are willing to do whatever it takes, and I think that's why we've had a lot of good results.
Let me ask you this. Do you go down to the stadium to practice field goals at this time of year?
We have not gone yet. We have not gone down there yet. That is, we have talked about that, but we have not gone down yet.
Why do you choose to not go down? Some special teams guys before you have done that.
Yeah, and I think maybe once the weather gets worse, we could potentially get down there. As of right now, they haven't really said anything about that. I think he's comfortable, particularly Dustin, with how the conditions are at this point. I think maybe once the weather gets worse, we could go down.
My follow-up to that would be for the punt and kickoffs returns too, because I imagine the wind gets pretty crazy down there in the summer for the punt return.
Yeah, for sure. I think that we'll have to do. Look, we're ready to play in all the conditions, and I think that if we get down there, we'll definitely work on some of those things.
Bubba, I might be wrong about this, but I thought I saw a clip where the Ravens had somebody jump Charlie. I think it was on the game-winning field goal attempt, like you guys did with Miles. Is that right?
Yeah, and that's they threw a flag for leverage. It wasn't leverage. It was a clean play. So
For Dustin, what does it kind of? In that moment, to have a guy come right at him and just make that with completely unfazed.
Just he's got to. he's not even thinking about that. He's entrusting in our protection, and that we're going to get everything blocked up, and just go execute the kick. Worry about your job. Do your job, and trust that your teammate's going to do his job. I mean, that's what we say about everything. Like, when you start trying to do too much and play outside the scheme and worrying about what everyone else is doing, that's when you have, breakdowns, overall in every phase. So do your job and trust that the guy next to you is going to do his job.
Like, at the end of the half, whether or not to try the 60-yarder or not.
So the ball wasn't carrying that well going toward the locker room, and you saw that on the one kickoff that hung up. We left the kickoff at like the 16. The next one we left it like a little bit short of that. And pregame we talked about a distance, and that kick was a little bit outside the distance that we had talked through, and we felt like we could get it there. Obviously it's not a high percentage kick at that point. And then we had the timeout, and once I saw Duvernay back there, I went to, Kevin and I just talked it through, and I'm like, I just don't know, I don't want to have a miss-hit ball, and, you got one of the best returners in the league back there with your field goal unit on the field. So I thought through it, talked through it with Kevin, and just thought that was the best decision at that time. It was really because the ball wasn't traveling going that direction. It didn't feel like there was a lot of wind in the game, just at the game. There was more wind than there felt, I would say. And you could see that. It was evident with how the ball was carrying. And I even told Dustin the same thing, because I pretty much said, can you get it there? Because we had talked about a distance that was shorter than that. And, he was confident that he could get it there, but, I just had an instinct to say no. So.
Very good.
Thanks.
How's the preparation for DTR different this week compared to that previous time he got the start, in terms of what you guys are doing with him?
Just working a little extra. That's the big thing. I think he understands now that he's going to be starting Sunday, as opposed to, hey, I probably didn't think he was going to play last time. No excuses, but he'll have the whole week to prep. That's the biggest thing. I thought he did a great job Tuesday night into Wednesday of digesting the plan. He was great in the huddle yesterday as far as play calls, and spit it right out. Some tough calls that he had already memorized. So just a week of preparation, knowing that you're going to be the starter on Sunday is only going to help for him.
So just getting that.
How remarkable for Deshaun to go out and do what he did in the second half of that Ravens game, and I guess after you found out about the shoulder too. I mean, that probably added to it. So that, and then finding out now that he's out for the season.
I mean, just what a warrior he is. I was in the training room with him at halftime, and it was rough. He was hurting, and he was adamant about getting back out there, and he was going to be just fine. So, really, hats off to him, his toughness. I mean, it's asinine that somebody would say that he wasn't tough enough to play through a shoulder injury, because I've never seen. I've been around some of the toughest guys in this business. Jim Kelly, Aaron Rodgers is tough as hell, and endure a lot of stuff, and he's right up there with those guys.
Dorian was saying that just having that game under his belt is going to make a huge difference. He's not the wide-eyed rookie that he was 6 weeks ago. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, every time you step back out on the field, you learn from your past experiences. And, for him, it wasn't his finest day. So I'm sure there's a lot of pride that comes with that. And, double down your efforts to have a strong performance the next time you get the opportunity. So I think he's learned from that game, and it'll only help him moving forward.
Did you notice a big change in him? Did you notice a big change in him since that game in terms of preparation and study and just being ready every day?
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's part of growing up as a rookie. You have to know it as well as anybody, as the coaches know it. I mean, that's how you have to dive into the plan each week, and so far this week has been excellent for him.
You guys had a choice. Why not PJ in this game?
Just felt like, Dorian, if you take out, if any averages of the curve, right, you take out the best game, you take out the worst game, there's still a lot of good football we felt that DTR's put on tape throughout the preseason as well. Understanding the fact that, getting thrown into it the last time the way he did, maybe it's a mulligan deserved, lessons learned for him, and then, we'll move out. But we're excited to have him starting this week, and expect him to step in and, and take care of the football and do some of the things he didn't do last time. I think he'll learn from that.
Did you guys feel like DTR gave you a better chance to kind of make a run at not only the playoffs, but a playoff run?
Actually, we've talked more about just going 1-0 this week, so the focus is on this week right now, and everything is focused towards Sunday at this point.
So you guys kind of light switch moment with him? I mean, just the idea of like, did Dorian have a moment in practice where you realized like, yeah, he got it, or was it more just an aggregation of his body of work?
Last few weeks he's been really good in practice. Stand out good on the scout team stuff. The throws he was making, the anticipation he threw with. His footwork is increased. Gotten better over the last 4 or 5 weeks. It just felt like he was ready. He's ready for a second opportunity.
You guys put him in for one play in Seattle. Was that a certain wrinkle you saw, or was that just a confidence builder?
Which one?
When Dorian went in for one play in Seattle.
No, that was just part of the game plan that week. Yeah.
Could you share with him, or did you share with him your experience the first time you were in the game, and then?
I don't know if I think that burned that tape, any footage of those tapes. But, yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard. I mean, I didn't have to start until I was a few years into the league, so it was a little easier for me. But, the good news is Dorian's played a lot of football, and that experience is through his college career, his 50-plus games starting. That'll help him. Again, having that one start under his belt is only going to help him. Calms the nerves, on Sunday now, second time out. And then a full week knowing that you're going to be the starter is going to help as well.
Go from the Ravens then to make your second NFL start against the Pittsburgh Steelers, T.J. Watt, Alex Highsmith, Cam Hayward. Can you just talk about the challenge you face?
Big challenge. Whoever's playing, it's a challenge against this defense. They're well coached. The edges are, tops in the league. And that's a point of emphasis for us. We can't let those edge guys, have an effect on the game, which they do so many times. So key coaching points for us throughout the week is to make sure that whatever it is we're doing in the run game, the pass game, the quarterback's depth in the pocket, everything needs to be within consideration of how good those edge rushers are.
I'm going to play?
I'm not sure.
Something about Dorian's demeanor that you've noticed that gives him the opportunity and the ability to bounce back from that kind of first start?
Yeah, there's no, he's a confident young man. There's no question. He was the day he got here, and I see that every day. He's talented in what he does, and he's had success, at the college level, and we're just waiting for that to show here. So I don't think he's lost any confidence. If anything, he's more confident because he's going to be more prepared this time.
Alex, David Njoku had a couple really strong runs at the end of that game. So what did you see out of him there, and how important is that to what you guys are trying to do?
I don't know where he stands. At one point, I think he was the lead leaguer in yak, yards after the catch. He's tremendous. Anyway, we can get the ball in his hands. We've said that now a few weeks in a row. Good things are going to happen. More often than not, he's a strong runner. He has speed, power. That's just in the pass game. So good things happen when Dave touches the ball.
You mentioned not sure about DeJuan. James and Jaron, just what, when you went back and graded them, and what did you guys see of them on film from the first time?
I thought the O-line played really well. I know that, we had 4 sacks on the day, but those were not indicative of how they blocked up front. I was really impressed and proud. Internal 3 are excellent. They've been solid all year, and the edge guys, they did their job. They really did. I was proud of James and Jaron.
Jaron, his previous game before last week was also against the Steelers. How much does that help that, he's gone against Highsmith before this season?
Yeah, no, I think that's going to help tremendously. I mean, he's obviously studied him before and is doing so this week. It can only help.
Alex, what did that push play tell you about your guys?
Oh, man, that's us. That's who we are. That's who we preach every day, the connectivity of playing for each other and being there and having each other's back and, really finishing every play. That's everything we preach, in that offensive room and as a team as well. So it was a great boost for everybody. Those guys out there, they loved it. James was fired up. Heck, Elijah was pushing with all he had, and that's it. It's all about being there for your brothers and getting each other's back and pushing that pile and then helping each other up off the ground. It's a big part of what we do. It's a connectivity that allows us, why we love to play. We love to play for each other. Those guys love to play out there with each other. So it's awesome when we're connected and you show it out on the field and it shows out like that and you gain 9, 12 yards after first contact. It's who we are.
What are you seeing in terms of mindset, motivation, and just the vibe on your offense in the wake of losing Deshaun?
A next man up attitude. You know, we know it's huge, shoes to fill. It was huge shoes to fill when Nick went down, and I think we're in the tops in league rushing as well. So we have ability here. We have guys with the ability that can step up. We feel good about our team in general, who we are. We just got to hold our end of the deal on the offensive side, which I know we will.
See a weight lifted when Elijah got his first touchdown?
No, I didn't really pay attention to any of that, to be quite honest with you. I was happy for him. I was happy for us as a team.
Been targeted, but did a nice job blocking on Sunday. What kind of a weapon does that give you? Just like a big guy downfield?
Yeah, he's like a big tight end in the run game, where he can get on guys. He had a good challenge last week with Hamilton, size-wise. Those guys matched up, and he held his own. He's going to do great things with the ball in his hands when he does get some targets, but we really like the way he's blocking right now, the physicality that he brings and the toughness in the run game.
What do you think of that blindside block on Ventrone?
It was what we asked him to do. It was probably a little more violent than we expected it to be. Just trying to pin the guy down so he can get the edge, and that's football. It was a physical play. Thanks.